For my number 5, I'm going to a moment that I'd be shocked if this wasn't on my list the last time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that it is because it's simply one of my very favorite moments in all of Star Wars. And this is the moment when Yoda explains the Force to Luke there in the swamp.
All right.
And I think part of it for me is that, and this is going to be a theme in my top 5. I didn't really do this purposefully, but once I settled on my 5 picks, I did see a theme come to the surface as it relates to the Jedi. And I think what's interesting with my pick here is that it highlights the Jedi within the confines of what these films, what the franchise is doing as a religious allegory. And obviously what's so compelling about the Jedi in that regard is that it's synthesizing Eastern philosophies with Western spiritual archetypes, and that manifest in various ways over the course of the 9 films, of course, and then the TV shows. And ultimately, what it represents is this journey of faith and self-mastery and moral responsibility that is fogged, especially once you get to the prequel trilogy for sure. But when you're looking at that specifically, Jedi as a religious allegory, I don't think there's a more quintessential version of that than Yoda. And he goes on this incredible journey here with Luke, and they're trying to lift the X-Wing out of the swamp. And you get that iconic moment where Yoda simply says, "My ally is the Force," and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us, binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the Force flow around you. Here between you, me, the tree, the rock, yes, even between the land and the ship. I am not particularly religious myself, although I certainly grew up with it being around me all the time. And in a way, I'm still pretty fascinated by it in some ways. And that comes through with incredible pathos in this moment with Yoda. I just love how the Force stops being myth for Luke in this moment, and it becomes real philosophy. It becomes the defining spiritual core of Star Wars, and again, not just with this trilogy, but through the rest of it. And it's such a great moment. I deeply love it, especially when you couple it with John Williams' just freaking brilliant score there. It's so good. That Force theme that he has for these movies is probably top 10, top 5 of all time. Especially if we're just talking about blockbuster filmmaking, it is tremendous. Just absolutely love it. And how that plays as Yoda's talking there about the ally, the Force being an ally, and a powerful ally it is. Like, that is one of my favorite lines in all of Star Wars. And because it's so fundamental to how I perceive Star Wars, especially moving forward away from the original trilogy. But for that initial trilogy and the trajectory it sets Luke on, this moment is key. It is the nucleus from everything we see from Luke moving forward. This dynamic he has with Yoda, this brief moment where he gets to learn from the master. And it's such a great antidote to cynicism, the hope and courage and faith that begins to fester with Luke here as a result of this exchange. And I love it. My number 5 here.
That's a great pick. It's such an iconic scene. I think there are a couple things that are really fascinating about that pick. One, the trajectory that Yoda has, as we see in the prequel films, as we see in the shows like Clone Wars, and kind of seeing the weight that Yoda has of all of this knowledge and all of these mistakes that the Jedi Order made and the Jedi Council,
Yeah.
and how he's all alone and he is sequestered. And
Yeah.
it's so it's so tragic, but also so hopeful. And there's a real beauty in that tension with him as a character. And I also really love when he talks about, judge me by my size, you do, and how Luke assumes you have to be big and strong in order to wield the Force properly, or in order to hoist, his ship out of the swamp. And Yoda
Yeah.
does it so easily and so deftly, of course, because he's so gifted and so connected to the Force. But
Yeah.
it is really, it's really striking to me, because we see, especially because of Luke's journey, and so much of it is, of course, the traditional hero's quest and the hero's journey, but also amongst that, especially with his interactions with Yoda and his interactions with Obi-Wan and then with Vader, there's so much myth making in Luke, but there's also so much deconstruction of myth making. And I find that duality really fascinating too. So I love that you picked that scene for a multitude of reasons. I think it's a really brilliant one.
Well, yeah, and that's why I wanted to funnel so much of this, at least as the conversation stands right now, through that religious prism, because at least in terms of the religion that dictated so much of my life and American life is Christianity, and the Christ archetypes here between Luke and Anakin, it's pretty staggering and obviously very purposeful given where things go and what we know about those two characters.
Yeah.
And so that's why, to me, it's just so foundational. And Lucas clearly had a vision for how he wanted to flip the mirror to Luke with Anakin once we got to the prequel trilogy. And despite all of the flaws of the prequel trilogy, I think he nailed that element of it, which is why I still think those films carry a lot of weight despite their issues, is how he nails the flip side of the coin to Luke with Anakin. And it's pretty incredible stuff. And yeah, this moment with Yoda and the stakes of it, which I go back to as well, because as you noted, he's sequestered. He's by himself.
Yeah.
We come to find out in the prequel trilogy the issues of the Jedi and what led to their downfall. And this is his last opportunity. He knows it. Yoda knows it. Like this, if the Jedi, if the Force, if belief in the Force is ever going to continue, it is this exchange between Yoda and Luke. And so yeah, he treats Luke. It's so fascinating because there is a tenderness to it. There is patience, but also a sense of urgency. And it's just like, yeah, the pacing of it. And yeah, I love all of that. It's pretty brilliant. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Good movie,
stuff.
turns out. Good movie.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that? Also, both of our top 5 picks, or number 5 is both from Empire. I love that.
From Empire. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.